Hey everybody, Ryan McKenzie here. Welcome to another episode of I Hate Selling Live, the podcast. Guys, if you read the book, I Hate Selling for the Fitness Professional, now you're on the podcast. If you haven't read the book, come on, man, grab the book. It's #1 international bestseller on Amazon, and now it's a free book if you go to IHateSellingBook.com. But today's show is a little different. I've got a friend of mine, Ian, from San Diego, California. And we've talked a few times over the last couple of years here. I think last time we saw each other was a year and a half ago at Ursa. Were you out there? I had like a in person, like a live training, one of my live training intensives out in California before Ursa started. Ian and a couple other trainers were out there with me. It was really good time. Ian, I'm bringing Ian on today because we're doing some live coaching calls every now and again. So normally on this podcast, and if you're in the Facebook group right now, guys, thanks for joining us. Guys, join the Facebook group. You get to be on all of these shows and all this stuff right when it hits live in the moment. So you can actually type in questions or comments or things you want to know, and I can answer them right here during the show. Like it's like real live feedback for me and for you. If you're on the podcast or on YouTube, Instagram TV, wherever you're at, leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. We'll talk and we'll figure out what you need. But normally what we do is we bring in somebody to give some information, talk through the sales process. Ian could probably do that. He's pretty good at what he does, honestly. From the times we've talked, it's been pretty impressive. But today what I'm doing, I put a call up in the group. I said, anybody wants some help with their business? I want to bring you on live to the show, kind of do a triage call. So we're doing just take the state of affairs in your business as people are opening back up and as things are getting rolling again. And we're going to see if we can't, Ian and I can't talk through some good ideas and some good tactics for the sales process, for getting some new clients, for building it a little bigger and making a little more money. See if we can't implement some stuff right away. And my hope is that his questions will also be your questions, and in some way, and then we can actually get some advice for him that could apply to you guys as well. So win all the way around. Michael Scott, right? Win. We'll have some fun. Ian, tell me where you're from.
North County, San Diego. So I work in a city called San Marcos, but it's kind of near Camp Pendleton. The Marine base is around here. So we're constantly hearing the explosions and the rifle range and all the bombs and stuff like that. So real close to the beach, which is nice. Actually got to go out there yesterday. My schedule allowed me to go hang out at the beach all morning and then go train clients in the afternoon, which is real nice.
That's cool, man.
San Diego, North County, San Diego.
That's awesome. So the Padres are doing well this year. They just made some big moves for some starting pitchers. You're a Padres fan, to see the hat, or is that just you're repping San Diego?
Mostly repping San Diego. I'm more of an Angels fan if I had to pick one. But being down here in San Diego, I definitely am a Padres fan, especially this year. I guess I'm a little more of a fair weather fan when it comes to them.
Bandwagon. Hey, come on.
You got Tatis. You got that beautiful stadium down there. I mean, I'll ride for the Angels all day long, but their stadium sucks compared to Petco.
Yeah, Petco's a gorgeous place. I root for the Angels too, man. I want them to be good for Mike Trout so bad, but they've got.
Yeah, we got 2 more years and we're done with Pujols. I mean, we got to pay him for another 10 years after that, but that was the worst deal ever.
It's true. You paid him for all the stuff he did before he got to Anaheim. That's crazy.
Yep.
All right, so believe it or not, this is not a baseball podcast. This is a training business podcast. We're trying to help you guys with your personal training business. So, Ian, let's get a rundown on what you're doing now. Obviously, everything changed from what people normally do with their life since COVID and with their business. So, what is it like? We know almost everybody's shut down. I mean, we know in California, specifically your area, things are still kind of shut down. What are you able to do now, and what are you wanting to do? Like, what's the state of your business right now?
What we're able to do, I work in a private training facility, so I'm completely independent. I just rent space in a facility. So we are open, we are operating, have been for the last couple months. It's all, for me personally, it's all one-on-one. So just me and one client at a time. I used to be able to do big boot camps and big group training. I think right now we've kind of all agreed as a collective team that it's no more than 4 at a time. So kind of small group training, which I would be down to explore, but my bread and butter, my heart and soul is I love the big groups. It's a lot of excitement. It's where I spent most of my career. Not that I don't love doing one-on-one training and kind of getting that personal interaction with the people, but it's a completely different animal. It's a lot more fun to have a bunch of people be running around like a crazy man. So right now I definitely can't do that. I mean, I guess we have our parking lot, which is fairly like there's not a lot of traffic, so we could potentially go out there. It just becomes more of an equipment issue as far as running the big groups and
Right.
spacing people out and stuff like that. So I say that's
Right.
definitely the big struggle right now is not being able to do all the types of training and offer all the services that I really want to.
That's a good point. I'm just going to pretend like we're not on a podcast and I'm just going to talk to you. So if you don't listen to us anymore, well, Ian's gone now. He left me. Well, I'll talk like I am on a podcast because Ian left me. Come on back, Ian. Where'd you go, man? I need you back here if we're going to do this. It looks like his internet went down. What I was going to say, Ian, he's getting back on. You have done a really good job. I think a lot of people think they need to do everything, large group, small group, one-on-one. That's a really cool option if you can do it. But it kind of makes it so broad and so general that it's hard to niche down on what you're good at. So what I love what Ian just said, when you're talking about how you love the large group, hey, he's back with us. It's good stuff.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I was telling everybody how I love how you just, what you love to do. That is a huge step. Doesn't mean it's what you have to do, but you know what you're passionate about. And I think a lot of people get into either one or two things. I got to do everything, which burns you out and makes you feel like you're not good at anything. Or I'm only going to do what I love to do and that's it. But if you can find this sweet spot of, I know what I'm best at, I know what I love to do, I know what makes me the most money, where those things converge, we want to try to get 80% of your business in that space, right? So if we can do that, that's great. And then we're kind of always evolving and growing and learning as trainers in the sales process and our training. So like dipping in an extra 20 to 30% in those other areas where we think we're not as good, or we think they're not going to make us as much money, or we don't like them as much, right? Like we still want to keep like a finger out there, just kind of feeling it out, because maybe something clicks one day as we see something differently and we can bring that into our circle. So I think that's really cool where you're at, where you love it. Right now you've had to shift. You want to get back there, but you're open to other stuff too. That's a really cool thing. Quick question for you. What was your price point for that big group that you were running before COVID started?
I ran it in a partnership with a couple other coaches. So it was kind of an add-on to their program. So I think I got $50-$60 a week.
Gotcha.
We would run one or two of them a week. Or no, 50 or $60 a class or a session, right, whatever you want to call it. If I was going to price it myself, it'd probably be somewhere in like the $10 to $15 range, depending on how many times a week I was doing it.
And how many people are you looking to get in a class like that? No restrictions on it and everything.
If I was running it by myself, I feel like the sweet spot is about 12 to 15. That's enough that I can kind of have the energy. It's the big group. It's the excitement. It's the group aspect, but it's still not so big that I can't kind of keep an eye on everybody. I can also kind of compartmentalize and put easier exercises where I'm not going to have to focus so much on them, like push-ups and squats and stuff like that, over in one area, so I can spend a little more time with the more technical stuff. Right. If I have another coach, I think the biggest session I ever did, not necessarily there, but at a former gym I worked at, I think we had 36 people and we had 3 coaches. It was a little crazy, but it was a lot, really, really high energy.
No, I've done 62, one coach. I wouldn't recommend it. I much prefer more individualized programming, like small groups and stuff. I'm not as into the bigger groups as you, but I like, my personal sweet spot's like that 3 to 9 range, 3 to 8 range. Is what I love the most. So that's good stuff. Good to know. So as you're moving now and you're only able to do groups of 4, or you're doing all one-on-ones, are you doing any groups at all? Or are you just doing...
No groups right now. I haven't really I haven't explored that one too much. I've been mostly just trying to rebuild myself and get myself back to my head above water again.
Yeah.
So now I think I'm kind of at a comfortable spot and things are starting to open up a little bit more, and my schedule has solidified itself. So I think I can kind of start exploring that.
Cool.
So figuring out how to market that one.
Yeah. Before you dive into that, when you're rebuilding your schedule, bringing stuff back up, what does that look like? I know we talked a little bit before we got on here, but you're talking about your sales process. What are you doing now? Like, has it been successful signing people up, or where you is the sales process working? Or how does that go for you?
I think the biggest catch in my sales process is that like that initial conversation, because it's they're always coming from different places, so it's kind of not all methods work on all locations.
Sure.
So because the franchise the franchise that I work out of, they have a website, so we have a bio on there. So I've actually gotten a lot of people through that bio just looking for a trainer, because I guess a lot of more people now are interested in their fitness. So I either get through a direct message on Instagram or an email. Sometimes I've had people reach out just through Instagram, through finding me. We used to get a lot of walk-in traffic, but that's not really happening right now. Most people, if they do walk in the door, are they just want a gym to work out in. They don't want a coach. So it's a lot of conversations about like, hey, this exercise what we do right here. You can't just come in and buy a membership.
Right.
So that initial conversation is kind of the biggest hiccup. It's really depends on the information that they're giving me initially. The people that kind of describe what they're looking for, it's a lot easier to kind of segue and get the conversation going. The people that are just like, how much you cost, are the ones that it's kind of hard to
it's
gauge.
A great question, right? It's like, you don't even care. Like, come on.
Yeah. So it makes it a little harder for me to like dive in and really want to like invest my time.
Sure.
If it's made clear from the get-go that all I want to do is the price.
Awesome. So where are you getting most of your clients from then as you build back up? Like former clients coming back? Do you have new people starting? What's going on there?
I'd say about 50-50 as far as I had some people stick with me through the whole process, through the whole COVID shutdown era. I've had like clients from years and years ago who are interested and are coming back and have started with me. And then I've picked up a few just completely new people I'd never knew. I think all of those ones have come through the website. So just seeing my bio, it kind of explaining my style of training, my philosophies.
That's cool. That's awesome. So we talked a little bit earlier. You said your sales, once they get in the door, are solid, but getting them there can be a challenge. What's it like when they're getting in the door? Like, what's making you so successful coming in? That like, I want to see if we can kind of walk through that sales process and see if it's going really well for you. How can we get more people into that process rather than, we don't need to perfect something that's already good, but if we can get more people in the front end. Most people tell me I need leads, but their sales are really, really bad, right? They're not closing people. They just need better leads, but you're closing people. So talk us through that a little bit and let's see if we can hammer something out.
So my initial step is I always try and jump on a quick call with them. Once we kind of build once we kind of establish, once I've gotten the lead. So it's usually no more than 15 minutes, probably closer to 10 most of the time. Mostly it's just a rapport building. Trying to make sure just kind of get a little more detailed information from them, what they're looking for, what they're hoping to achieve, kind of where they're at right now, what their schedule kind of looks like. But it's also kind of just to get a vibe off of this person, because it is such a personal like relationship. I'm going to spend 2, 3, 4 hours a week with this person. I want to make sure we gel. When I was first starting out, and I kind of just had to take whoever I could get, whoever was willing to give me money. I ended up with a few clients who it was a lot of one-word answers when we're training together. Like, hey man, Ryan, how's it going today? Good. Cool. How's work? Fine. Cool. So I kind of get that first initial call just to make sure we can communicate. We have at least some level of like communication. From there, if it's a good fit, or it feels like it probably is going to be a good fit, we can at least hold a conversation. Have them come in. We do a free consultation workout, is what I call it. So initially, just come in, get a quick run around the gym, kind of see all this stuff, what it looks like. Some people care a little bit more about the actual equipment. Most people I find don't, but it is just nice to make them feel comfortable. They can kind of get a lay of the land. Then we sit down, we dive even further into what they're looking to achieve, what their nutrition looks like, what their support system is. I have a whole list of questions, but it is really just a conversation. So I don't think it's ever just gone straight down.
Guys, that's brilliant. I want to jump in real quick. If you don't have a list of questions that you can be asking your client, you might be the most experienced trainer. You might have a really great closing percentage. You might just know what you're doing. At some point, you're going to find somebody that is not gelling with you. You just don't feel it right. Or you're going to be distracted by something going on in your world. If you don't have a list of questions or something to keep you back on track or to get it back on track, it's not going to go as well as it could. I'm not going to say you'll be bad at it. You might be naturally really good at it, but you need something there. Plus, on the other side of that, having a list of questions, having something prepared and written down, just communicates to your potential client, like, this person prepared for me, rather than just, hey, what's up? So how you doing? I want to find out about you. Tell me everything. You're putting all the weight on their shoulders to lead the conversation. It's kind of like hosting a party and you don't bring out any food. You don't have any games ready. You don't have any seating available. You just expect people to show up and entertain themselves the entire time, which there should be some of that, but you need to prepare the space for them, right? Same idea when you're bringing them for their evaluation, their consultation. Like, you don't need to be so rigid that every minute is planned out. We're going to do this. But what Ian's doing is brilliant because he's been doing it long enough and he's good enough at it where you can walk through the conversation without usually needing your notes. But having something prepared it's the first step in the sales process, right? It shows them that you care about them, because even if it's the same form you use every single time, it looks like you prepared something for them because it's specifically questions about them. So that is your unspoken, your nonverbal communication right there is huge. That, like, man, this guy cares about me. That's a big step. So you're already doing that. That's awesome. How does it go from there? I interrupted you, but it's a really great thing you're doing.
No worries. So in those lists of questions, I'm kind of looking for those common, like, objections, kind of setting the tone before. So that's why I like to throw in that, like, what's your support system look like? Yeah. So then if we get to the end and they're like, oh, well, I have to talk to my husband, I have to talk to my wife, whoever, it's kind of already established, like, that's cool. Like, but didn't you say, like, they were on board? Like, they knew you were coming here today, right?
Yeah.
So not in a conversational way or confrontational way, but just kind of trying to hedge my bets beforehand.
Yeah.
Then once we've kind of spent, 15, 20 minutes, depending on the person and how much they want to talk. Some people are a little more talkative than others.
Right.
We jump on the training floor. I always pitch it more as, hey, this is an assessment, kind of an evaluation. I just want to see how your body moves. So we go through, like, basic, like, overhead squat assessment, a push, a pull. Like, I usually in that initial conversation, sorry to go back, I kind of ask, like, what are the areas you're looking to focus on? And I try and throw one or two things in there. So if it's like their arms or their stomach or something that's going to work that area they mentioned that they wanted to work, to kind of get them to see, like, okay, cool. Like, I can see the value. Like, I really wanted to work my arms like this. That was a really interesting, like, not necessarily new, but like, hey, this was like a little tweak that's going to, even if I don't sign up with this guy, like, I know this technique, I can go and use this to get better arms.
Right.
Once we kind of go through that, sorry.
Good. No, you're good. Go ahead. That's good stuff.
Once we go through that, we head back over to kind of off to the side where we have, and I sit back down, kind of debrief how the workout goes, kind of is this sort of what you're looking for, like that kind of stuff. And then break down, like, what are you actually going to get? What's the offer? And then ask for the sale.
Awesome. And what's it like when you ask for the sale? Is it awkward? Do people sign up? How does that work for you?
People sign up every time. I know it kind of sounds braggadocious, but if I can get them in the door in the last year and a half, I have signed every single person. Now, it's not a huge one. I'm a one-man operation, so it's not like I'm making sales multiple times a day, every day. It's a handful a month, maybe 2 or 3, 4, depending on if it's a good month or not.
So one a week, something like that. Yeah. And that's the difference. It's a good thing to note. Ian's doing this as a personal training business. He is the owner, worker, sole proprietor, you're everything in the business, right? You're the trainer and the owner. So don't expect that percentage at a gym where you have trainers, or at a membership style gym where you've got a lot of classes, or an open gym where people are just paying memberships. That's not going to happen. But I would say this, Ian, if everybody's signing up, you're either not charging enough or you're not getting enough people in the door. Right. So I think both those things those are the red flags that pop up to me when I hear I'm signing everybody up. So really practical advice, just simple, quick stuff. Cause I think we've talked a lot about the sales process. Excuse me. I know you've used that a lot, from the I Hate Selling book and my trainings and stuff to build that sales process. That's been super effective. What I want to see next step for you is that we use the sales process, not just to close them, but I think we need to make it to where it's such a good experience that not only do they sign up, but they want to bring somebody else with them, or refer somebody else in, and you start getting new leads in off of your sales process. So there's a couple ways. There's a couple ways to do that. You might be doing that a little bit already, but if we can this is going to be slightly different than what you've been doing right now. So I'm going to throw in a crazy idea out there for you, and you can go for it if you want to. Before I do that, what is your price point right now for your one-on-ones, all that kind of stuff you're doing? Like, what are you charging?
So basic 2 times a week is going to be $450, and then it kind of jumps by $200 for every additional time per month or per week.
Is that half hour sessions? What do you prefer to do?
They're booked as hours. Most of the time we get done 4 or 5 minutes early.
Gotcha.
I would prefer just to get the workout in, and if I'd rather have them we not go the extra 5 minutes, but make sure it's a good workout, then just add 5 minutes of fluff
Right.
for time's sake.
So you're about, I mean, if you $450 a month over 3 months,
it's about $53 an hour, I think, if you work it out.
52 a month if you pull in that extra week every 3 months, right? Like that every quarter. So 52 an hour. I would start to raise that rate until you get people that tell you no. You don't have to rate what you're doing right now. The neat thing is you have a smaller amount of people. You got a more personal business. I would start to bring up any new people that come in the door. We're gonna have a higher rate. So I like to work off the rule of 85. So if my 1 hour sessions are 85, my half hour are 55, that might be a big jump for you, but somewhere in that range could be where you want to get to, especially where you are close to San Diego. It's not, I mean, there's people charging ridiculous amounts of money there. So it's not
there's people charging ridiculous amounts of money in my gym because we're all independent.
So I would you don't have to be the most expensive guy. I'm not here telling you that's the way to grow this business. Like, I think everybody goes straight to that money thing. But I think there is something about being not the least expensive, right? You don't want to compete at the bottom. And otherwise it's just constantly trying to find people to fill up your time. And once you do fill your time, you feel like you're not making enough for what you're doing, So I would bring that up. If I'm you, I would, as quick as I can, I'm getting to 85 an hour. I don't know. The caveat there is you have to be confident selling that you're worth that. Knowing you and seeing your stuff on Instagram and how well you treat your clients, I have no doubt that you're worth that. So I would say, if you're back to where you're making enough to survive, I'm bringing everything to 85 and 55 for hour, half hour training sessions. That's where I'd go right away. And you can even tell your current clients that, saying, hey, I just want you to know my rates are going up. My schedule's getting full again. I'm having to bump my rates up. It's going to be quite a significant bump. I'm not raising them on you guys. If you ever stop training, when you come back, this will be your rate right here, but you can stick with this as long as you're a client of mine consistently. I think that's a fair thing to say, and lets them know, so they're not like, oh, you should train with Ian. He's only $52 an hour or whatever. I only pay $450 a month or whatever it is. That they're not giving bad advice to people that come in and have a wrong expectation. If you're going to raise those rates up a little bit, that's where that's one area I would focus on. And the other thing that I think the bigger issue, whether you raise rates or not, is that sales process and getting referrals out of it. So something that's been really effective for me and for a lot of the people I work with is changing that evaluation time and turning it into, and this is what happens, honestly, this is necessary if you're charging a higher price, right? So like if you're saying, hey, it's $450 a month, it's $50 an hour, it's not that big, that expensive of a thing you're working with. You bring it up to 85, it's almost $100 an hour, right? Like now you're charging a good chunk of change. So that same, what is that? 85 times 2 times, I should know this, right? Like 735, 745 a month, right? Like if you're twice a week. I think that's right. If you guys are doing the math at home and it's not exactly right, I think you're wrong, because I multiply it by 13, divide by 3, and then figure it out from there. Because if you only multiply it by 4 and you only do it for the month, then you're missing the months where you have the extra day and you end up giving away a free session. So that's what we're looking at when you do monthly pricing. Multiplied by 13, divide by 3, and then you get your price. Anyway, back to this. Because Ian, you already have that down, I think. The evaluation session, man. It sounds like you do a really great job making it personal, find out what they need, helping them get a vision for what you're doing. I would really want to see that eval time become something that doesn't waste your time and something that really sets them up for a big future with you and a big vision for how they can help other people too, right? So what we've done is taking paid evaluations. So when you start to charge anywhere from $750 to $2,000 for a month of training, right? It can be a big ask. It can be a bit intimidating for you, for anybody. But instead of just going cold from, I just met you, you didn't pay me anything, to a big ask, we can charge a one-time fee for an evaluation. And typically that's going to be at or above your one-on-one rate. So why would they do that? Because you're going to give them like the best evaluation they've ever had, and you're going to give them tools that they can go away with, whether they need help with their cardio, their nutrition, their mobility, whatever it is that you do best. Evaluate them, say, in my professional opinion, here's 2 things, here's 3 things you can do, whether you train with me or not. Here's something amazing. They're going to walk away and be like, man, I never knew I shouldn't be doing weighted back squats or bench press because my shoulders are so messed up or my hips are so messed up. I knew my back hurt, but I didn't know that was the reason why. And I should probably get away from that. And you're going to give them stuff not to do. You're going to give them stuff to do. And really, I mean, for me, I use the functional movement screen. A lot of people have variations of that or do other different kind of mobility tests or movement screens. And you get an idea of what they should do, what they shouldn't do, and give them a small digestible plan to say, hey, here's what I want you to do. And if really what I would, how am I wording this? Here's my best advice for you. Don't do this, start doing this. And if you work with me, here's what it's going to look like. Right. And so you can kind of lay that out for them. And if they say no, you missed the sale, but you didn't waste your time because you've got a lead, somebody you can follow up with as they're going through their program that you gave them. They've actually enjoyed it because they got value out of it themselves. And they're going to say, man, the only reason I'm not training with him is because it was too expensive, rather than I didn't like it, I didn't want it. But you've got somebody that when the money hits, right, or when the pain is actually probably the biggest issue, their emotional or physical pain actually hits them the right way. And they're like, wow, I can't live like this anymore. I got to go see Ian. I got to make sure that my back is strong, or my hips are mobile, or whatever it might be, right? Or that my gut is gone. I'm tired of my kids thinking that I'm fat. Whatever that is, like when that hits hard enough, I don't see you missing many of those sales, because if they pay to be there for the first time, you lay the vision out like you've been doing, they're going to be even more committed in the long run, because I'm investing into this from the get-go. I'm all in to move forward. And so either way, you've got a plan moving forward already, or you've got something it's easy to follow up with them. How's the cardio plan I gave you going? You're not doing it. Hey, I've got half-hour sessions if those hours were too much for you, or I've got a group if you want to join that, we can get you in. So you've got other options. You can make that move. You follow me on this? Any questions on that?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Cool. So the referral piece with that is, once they've come in, it's not just a, hey, do you like the workout? Let's sign up. Good. We're good to go. But like, they've actually received something already. Like, I learned about how to get my biceps bigger. I learned about how many times a week I need to do cardio so that I can get my heart rate up and not hurt my knees, or what type of cardio I should be doing so I don't hurt my back. Whatever that, I mean, again, you guys out there that are listening to this, and then Ian, whatever you do, insert you there, like what your expertise is. Don't try to just be the weight loss guy or the cardio guy or the nutrition guy if you're not. But give them whatever it is that you do. And don't be afraid to give that piece away, because they've already paid for that time. And then you can take that, and now they've received something amazing from you. It's like, wow, no one has ever told me this is what I should do. It's kind of, I use this example a lot. It's kind of like going to get a haircut. I need a haircut, by the way. Craziness.
Oh, we all do.
Right. But you go sit down in the barber chair and they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't freaking know, man. Like, you're the expert at this. Tell me what would look good on my head. Like, you tell me, hey, here's 3 things that would look really good on your shape of head and your type of hair and with your hairline. Like, this is what I would recommend, right? Rather than, what do you want? I think as trainers, we do that a lot, where it's like, here, try this. How'd that feel? What else do you want to do? Rather than, hey, I noticed this. I see you moving this way. In our evaluation, I saw that you were a little weak here. Your cardio was a little down here. You said when you came in, your biggest concern was this. So all that put together, I would really recommend, let's get this kind of haircut, or let's go this way. And they're gonna be like, wow, this guy gets me. You listened to everything they said. You gave them advice and you said, let's go this way together. Now, all you have to do from there, right? Like, it's a different way of thinking about it. All you have to do from there to get the referral pipeline going is saying, man, I'm really proud of you for starting this. Most people that's the hardest thing, is getting started and making the commitment. So great job. You compliment them, tell them how proud you are of them. Say, and you've already asked about, I love that you said this earlier. You already asked about other outside influences they have in their life, their circle of friends, their work environment, their family, all that kind of stuff. Who's on your side for this? I forget how you worded it exactly, but
support system.
Who's your support system, right? So you've already got that rolling in the back of their head, which is important for their results, but it's also important for your referrals. So now that they've received something great, you've set a path forward. You say, hey, you talked about your support system earlier. Who else do you know needs something like this, right? And so the second I buy a new phone or a new car, that's when I'm most excited. Like, check out the brand new iPhone 75 I just got, right? Or the brand, whatever it is. Like, it's not 12 weeks from now, once I figure out how to use everything on it. I don't want to talk about it then, right? Because it's not new anymore. But you've already given them something that's incredibly valuable. You've tapped into their emotional state. You've actually found out all this stuff about them, put them through an amazing evaluation. They've committed to something big, that you've congratulated them on it. Like, that's the time to say, who else do you know needs what you're doing right now? So I think you can use that piece alone to build really big pipeline of organic leads, because the worst answer you're going to get is say, I don't know. And either they're not comfortable telling you because they need another day or two with you, or they need to think about it. Say, okay, no worries. Hey, no pressure. Just think about it. Next time we meet, I might ask you again. I'm not asking you to sell anything for me. I just love helping people. And I see that you're somebody that's making a commitment right now. So if you know anybody else that needs to make that kind of commitment or that kind of change in their life, keep an eye out for me and let me know next time we come in. I just love an introduction. That's all, just a conversation.
All right.
Right. So
I usually give I give them a couple of my business cards at the end, but I like the way you worded that. I think that would help a lot better. So I'm kind of
so give them a business card. If the person is business minded and they're sales minded, they're a salesperson themselves, or they run their own business and they like you a lot, then they're like, yeah, all right, cool. Let me go talk to people. They might hand out your business card. But even then, they're like selling for you rather than like, what if you go to a really great restaurant and you get out of there, you're like, man, you wouldn't believe the steak I had the other day at wherever. It was amazing. And you just want to tell your friends about it. Like, that's the kind of experience you want to create for them. So that's not like this weird, hey, check out this trainer, I think you're fat too. But like, they love it. And they're just like, man, Sarah, you got to come check out Ian. I'll give you his number, or let me give him your number, or something like that. At the worst, all they're doing is giving you a name and just saying, hey, I talked to my friend Sarah, I think she'd be really interested. And then your follow-up is just, that's awesome. Thanks so much for doing that. That's going to change your life. It's really cool. And it helps my business too. Would she mind if you gave me her number? You want to ask her real quick, and she can send a text to her and you're done. Like, it's super conversational. Like, you've already been keeping I think you've done a tremendous job with that sales process and with the evaluation, but you turn it into a small commitment at first. The price, if you can get the price up there a little bit, now a bigger commitment, and now giving them something as well, like in return right away, like they receive something right away, whether it's knowledge or a infographic that you've printed out, whatever it is on how to do cardio or core, whatever you want to give them. But I love that, like, do this, don't do this, and here's your plan. 3 quick things. And then who else do you know that needs this? Can really, really change. I mean, we're not even talking about how to talk to people on social media, or how to ask for a sale through your email list. And this is just, if you're doing that well with evaluations, that's every single client. You can use the same process with every single session, right?
I like
great
that.
job on that squat. That's the best I've ever seen you do. I'm really impressed with your progress. Who else do you know that needs stuff like this? Because I'm really looking to grow this a little bit more, and I want to help people. And I want to work with people just like you. So who do you know that needs this kind of help? And they say, I don't know, or John, Sarah, Joe, whatever, like, you say, well, if it's, I don't know, hey, next time, think about it. Next time, let me know if you have anybody. All I'm looking for is just introduction. That's all. Super easy ask. Cool, man. I love it. I think it's a good place to start. Guys, Ian's the man. Look him up. Ian, what's your Instagram, man? So everybody that's a trainer can follow you and critique all of your moves.
Right. Coach Ian Lowery. So IANLOWERY on Instagram.
Coach Ian Lowery. Guys, check him out. And if you're ever out in San Marcos, right? Is that what it is?
San Marcos in North County.
Just north of San Diego?
What's that?
Just north of San Diego?
Yeah, about 35 minutes north of downtown.
Depending on traffic. Yeah.
Here, right. Right
Good
now
stuff.
it's smooth sailing. Not a lot of people out there.
Yeah. Cool, man. Hey, thanks for jumping on, guys. If you are someone who's running a training business, or even if you have a team of trainers and you want to get in and do one of these calls, let me know. Comment in the comments. That's where you would put the comments, is in the comments section, or send me an email, ryan@trainingwithryan.com, and we will get you in. If you're the right kind of person. If you're the wrong kind of person, I don't want to talk to you. But we'll get you in. We'll have fun, and train smart, live well. Go download the book, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.